Hey everybody, hope we had a good break. We're going back to graphing quadratics. So today we're going to review a bit. Since you've been gone for a while, we're going to review graphing from standard form, and then we're going to learn how to graph from these other forms that we'll talk about in the future. So here's our review. If you feel like you're comfortable, if you did well on the test, then you probably don't need to watch the video. If you struggled on the test or you haven't done the test yet, then you probably want to watch this and get caught up. All right, so what information do you need in order to graph a quadratic function? We're always going to need to find the vertex. We're going to go into talk about two other forms of quadratics, and for all of them, we're going to need to find the vertex. And then once we have the vertex, we can use the growth pattern. And again, that's 1, 3, 5. For all of our problems, either A is 1 or -1, but in our next year, when you go do secondary math 2, A could be anything. So I just want to keep that in mind, where we do 1, 3, 5, but it's really 1A, 3A, 5A. So whatever A is, we just do that. Okay? All right, key features for standard form. Well, again, standard form is y equals ax squared plus bx plus c, where a, b, and c, those are just numbers. Okay. Easy to find key features. One is the axis of symmetry. That's x equals -b all over 2a. Okay, where b is that coefficient and a is the leading coefficient. All right, so just keep in mind that you put those in the right order. Sometimes people have those upside down, so keep that in mind, and also mind their signs. The y-intercept is your constant, so 0, c. That is your y-intercept. That's where it crosses the y-axis. If you were to plug in 0 for x, then all you have left is c, and that would be 0, c, and that's your y-intercept. All right, that's very useful once we graph to make sure that we did it right. We can make sure that it crosses the y-axis at 0, c. All right, reminder on how to find the vertex. Again, we're always going to start by doing the axis of symmetry. X equals -b over 2a. All right, that gives you your x for your vertex. And then to find our y, we plug x into your equation, or the equation. We should say the equation. To find y. All right, so that gives you your x and your y for your vertex. All right, so let's do a couple examples of those. I probably won't do all of these. If you need more examples, you could go back and watch the videos that we did for Unit 10. So again, always write down what A and B and C are. So A is 1. Again, if the number, the coefficient is missing, there's not a number in front of your x squared or your x, then it's always 1. Here we have B is -2. Again, include the sign. And then here we'll do this as well. C here is -1. So we need to find our x for our vertex. That's our -b over 2a. We'll plug in what b is, we'll plug in what a is, so we get -2. So that's a double negative will give you a +2. And on the denominator we have 2 times a, which is 1. And that gives you 2. So we end up getting our axis of symmetry, or the x for our vertex, is 1. You could draw like the dotted line for the axis of symmetry if you would like. So now we have our x for our vertex. Now we need to find the y. So we plug the y in. We'll get 1 squared minus 2 times 1 minus 1. You can simplify that or use your calculator. We'd end up getting 1 minus 2 minus 1, which gives us -2. So our vertex is 1, -2. So that's right here. And then we'll use our growth pattern. Since A is 1, we'll need to go up. A is positive, so we'll go, our opens up. So over 1, up 1, over 1, up 3, over 1, up 5. And we'd do the same on the opposite side. Okay? Once you have it graphed, it's a good idea to look at the C value. C is -1, so that means it should cross the y-axis at -1. And it does, so we've got it right. Okay? All right, so we'll do a couple more and then you'll be good. If you have questions, again, let me know, or you can watch the previous videos to get caught up. All right, again, we'll label our sides here. We have A is -1, B is -8, and C is -17. We'll find our x, which is -b, so that's -8, so double negative, and then we'll have 2 times -1. So we get 8 over -2, or -4. So our axis of symmetry is right here. And then we'll need to find our y. So we plug that -4 into our equation. So -4 squared minus 8 times -4 minus 17. Again, if you substitute something in, always put it in a parenthesis, especially if it's negative. Okay? Let's see, what else? Also, a lot of people are forgetting this leading negative. Okay? Again, this exponent is only applying to what's touching. So like here, this only applies to the x, not to the negative. So it's important that you always get that negative out in front. If you're to do PEMDAS, you got to do exponents first. So we would square the -4, and then we'd multiply it by this -1. So, but if you use your calculator, it should do it for you. Anyways, I'll do it by hand. Here we'll get 16, but then we also have this negative that's still out there. We have a plus 32, and then minus 17. And then I think you get that all together, you end up getting -1. So our vertex is -4, -1. And then we'll use our growth pattern. Since here A is negative, we're going to go over 1, down 1, over 1, down 3. We'll do it on both sides. And here you see that it doesn't cross the y-axis. It does eventually. It's just our graph isn't big enough. So we could continue this going. We could go over 1, down 5. So this is -5, and then we'll go down 5 more, so that would give us something like -10 when it crosses here. And then we'd go over 1, down 7, and that will give us that -17. So if our graph was big enough, we could continue that, and it would actually cross where it's supposed to be. All right. There's just some other examples. Actually, this is the one that I meant to do, D. Just keeping in mind here the difference between like C and D, what A, B, and C are. So A here is 1, and here A is -1. Okay? Here B is 4, and here B is 0. So the middle term, it's not there, is missing. And again, that would be like, we could rewrite this as -x squared plus 0x plus 4. Okay? And for C, this could be plus 0. So here our constant is 0. Where here, the constant is 4. So just keep that in mind, the difference between those two. They both have 2 terms, but for on the left side, the constant's missing, C is 0, and for D, the middle term is missing. That gives us a B equals 0. So if we were to graph that, we'd do, or find our axis of symmetry, that would be 0 over 2 times -1, which gives you 0, and then plug y in, and we'd get 4. So our vertex is here, and would go down. So something like that. You can always check and make sure that it crosses the y-axis at the right spot. Here it crosses at 4. And we've got that, okay? All right. And then I just want to do one more of these so that you can remember how to find those key features. All right, so why don't we do E? We have A is 1, or sorry, -1. B is 6, and C is -8. All right, so we do our axis of symmetry. That's -B, which is 6, all over 2 times A, which is -1. And that would give us -6 over -2, or 3. Then we'd plug that 3 in, we'd get y equals -3 squared plus 6 times 3 minus 8. Plug that all in, we get -9 plus 18 minus 8. And I think that will give us 1. So our vertex should be 3, 1. Okay, and then we'll use our growth pattern. It goes down, we'll go down, opens down because A is negative. So we go over 1, down 1, over 1, down 3, over 1, down 5 on both sides. And again, you see that it crosses the y-axis at -8, and we have C is -8, so that works great. We have 2 x-intercepts. We have 2, 0 and 4, 0. Y-intercept is 0, -8. Axis of symmetry, which we found out at the very beginning, that's x equals 3. The vertex we also wrote down here, that's 3, 1. The vertex is a maximum, and its value here is 1. Again, it's how high it goes. So pretend like you're going on a hiking this mountain. The highest you'll go is 1. Okay? And then the direction of opening is down. Okay, I wrote this down like a summary of all this. So these are basically the steps of how to find the vertex from standard form. And then I worked out example. And then once you find that vertex, then you plot the vertex and you use the growth pattern 1, 3, 5 to find more points. All right, if you have any questions, let me know. And again, you can also review using our previous videos or anything from our last unit, okay? All right, we'll see you guys.